Okay, let's talk about Epique Revenue Share. First, you might think, oh, I'm not interested in that. Hang in there with me because it's kind of different here. It's a lot easier. Let's check this out. All right, what is revenue share? Revenue share is a reward for introducing an agent to the company. As a thank you for helping the company grow, Epique Realty will pay a sponsor, that's somebody who recruits in another agent, a small commission, a small fee each time that a recruited agent has a closing until that recruited agent caps each year. Okay, so that's how it works. Hi, I'm Mike Cerrone with The Curious Agent. And if you're curious about joining Epique Realty and you want to chat with me to learn a little bit more about it, then go ahead and click the link in the show notes below. There's a link titled Talk to Mike. And go ahead and click that, and you're going to go over to my schedule, and you're going to schedule a 20-minute Zoom call with me where we can just chat and see what your situation is and see if this is a good fit or not. We'll just kind of give you the straight scoop. But let's go ahead now and jump back into the story. And let's kind of go into it, and we're going to get into an example. This money comes from the company side of the split, not the agent. The agent does not pay for this. The company is covering it. In addition, the sponsor also receives a little small commission on the pre-cap closings of the agents introduced by the recruit. So it goes 5 levels down. I'll give you an example. So let's say you come into the company and you have a friend, Harry, who comes over and decides to join, and Harry brings a friend named Sally, and Sally brings a friend named Fred. So let's say all three have a closing in 1 month. You would receive a little bit of a fee on all three. You'd really receive a fee on Harry's closing, Sally's closing, and Fred's closing. Pretty awesome, right? And that goes 5 levels down. Now at Epique, this is where it's completely unique and different than the other companies you may have heard about. There's no FLQA requirements. There's no buffer reductions or access fees. A lot of companies do what I call clawbacks, where they reduce the amount they're actually paying out. Doesn't happen here. What is an FLQA? That's a frontline qualified agent. So some of the other companies, not Epique, but some of the other companies require you to have a certain number of people on your line 1 in order to receive any income on lines 2, 3, 4, or 5. Not only do they have the first requirement, you have to have a certain number of agents. Then they use that word qualified, which means that each of those agents has to sell a certain amount and generate a certain amount of income into the company. If they don't, they're no longer qualified, and therefore you can no longer access your lower levels. Epique said that's kind of crazy that you're not paying out what you promised. And so they changed their model to say, look, you get opened up. All 5 levels are opened up immediately. There's no requirement to have a certain number of agents on any line. You just are going to get paid on all 5 lines for all the agents that you and your agents bring in 5 levels deep. Pretty clean, right? Pretty simple. How is that calculated? It's calculated at 10% of the company dollar. So the revenue share is 10% of the company dollar off that cap, and it's the same on all 5 lines, so there's no confusion. It's a simple formula. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say that an agent goes out and you recruit them, and they go out and they have a sale, they have a closing, and they earn, say, $10,000 in GCI, and then the company receives 15% of that, so that's $1,500. So that $1,500 would go towards the agent's cap, and it would be money that goes to the company for that split, right? Now, the company takes the $1,500 and they cut it up into 10 parts, 10 even parts. The company retains 5 of those parts, or 50%, to operate the company. By the way, that's how this is all sustainable. And then the top 50%, those 5 parts on the top, are then handed out to the sponsors who brought in that agent. The direct sponsor who brought in the agent, as well as the 4 people above you that sponsored you, and et cetera, all the way 5 levels up. I hope that makes sense. So that's how it works. It's very clean and very simple. Here's what people really want to know. What's the bottom line? Well, here's the bottom line. A sponsor can earn up to $1,500 per year per capping agent on all 5 levels. All opened up, no restrictions. Wow, that's huge, and that's completely different than any other of the models out there that I am aware of. So you need to check this out if you have any desire to do revenue share. Now, I promised you at the very beginning, I'd tell you about how an agent can add $3,000 per month to their bottom line with the 2-bring-2 formula. Let's talk about how that works. We're talking about revenue share here. Here's what happens if every recruit introduces just 2 new agents who join the company, right? So let's say that you join the company and you're working along and you got a couple of friends that come over from other companies, they're real estate agents, and they say, hey, I see that you joined Epique. How's it working out? You're like, it's great. I can't believe it. And they're like, do they actually do everything they say? Yeah, they do everything they say. And then your friend's going to say, well, can I find out more about it? I might want to join. You're like, you bet. Come on over, and you share with them the information. And they say, yeah, I'm ready to join. When they join, they sign up and they name you as their sponsor. All right, so that's 2 that you would have 2 people come in. And so on your first line, you would have 2 agents, those AAs, okay? Now, let's talk about what happens next. They're going to have the same experience. Some of their friends walk up and say, hey, what's going on over there? Tell me about it. And we're going to assume that every agent brings 2 more agents. So on your second line, you got 4 people. Why? Because the 2 agents on line 1 brought 2 each, and now we're up to 4. Making sense? All right. Then what happens? Well, those 4 are going to talk, and they're going to bring in 2 each. And so now on line 3, you have 8. And those 8 people are going to end up talking to agents, and each of them are going to bring 2. And so on line 4, it's 16. And then those 16 agents are going to talk and eventually bring in 2 people each. And so now you got 32. All right, so in this model, that we can see how it's really growing naturally all by itself, just because you brought in 2 people who ended up bringing in 2 people who ended up bringing in 2 people, and it just multiplies out. You're probably wondering, well, wait a minute, you probably be doing the math. How many people is that? Well, here you go. It's 62 agents. You got 62 agents total now in that whole group. And if we're going to make an assumption here that all the agents are capping, they may or may not be, but we're going to make that assumption for now because that's how everybody looks at all these models if you're comparing them to other companies. So if they're all capping agents, how much would you earn? Well, the result would be $93,000 per year in revenue share. That's a significant amount of change, right? And the way we got there is we took the 62 agents times that maximum amount of the cap, which is 1,500. Boom, $93,000. Now you're probably saying, hey, Mike, what if they're not fully capping? What if they're half capping? I don't know about all of them, but maybe the average is that, right? Some of them are capping, some of them aren't, and a lot of them are in the middle. Let's say the average is a half cap. All right, let's take a look at that. If they're all half cappers, we take that 93, we divide it by 2, and now we're looking at 46.5. You can get up to $46,500 per year in revenue share. And if we divide that by 12, we end up with $3,875 per month. That's how we say $3,000 per month, right? So it's just a little bit over that. Now, I just want to point out again that all these numbers are best case scenario. There's no guarantees this is going to happen for you. Your results will definitely vary, but it's a pretty cool model, wouldn't you agree? In our model, you just bring in 2, who bring in 2, who bring in 2, and pretty soon you got a pretty cool, pretty significant amount of revenue that's coming in passively, right? This could supplement you if you have a bad month, like you don't have a closing, or you have a great month and you have some income, but now you got some extra money that you could go on a trip or pay for a car payment or something else, right? So that's pretty cool. I'll point out one last thing that's unique to this model compared to other companies, and it's the very top line. The very top line in this model, you just brought in 2 people. And with this company, you brought in 2 people, they brought in all these other people, you were still able to access all of the revenue share and receive it every month. With other companies, since you only brought in 2, they have a requirement you have to bring in 5 on line 1 in order to get anything on line 2, and you have to bring another 5 to get anything on line 3, and another 5 to get anything on line 4. And before you know it, you had to bring in 20 agents in order to access these 5 lines. Not here, not here. And by the way, those weren't just 20 agents, those were 20 qualified agents where they all had to be earning a certain amount, which most agents don't because it's usually on a 6-month rolling average, and it's hard to do. So a lot of agents at the other companies that do this, they don't actually receive all the lines. At Epique, you do. You could have 1 on your first line and you're going to get all the lines. It doesn't matter. So any number you have on the first line, you're still going to get all the other lines as well. That is really cool about something over here at Epique. It's the thing that got me the most interested in the company to start taking a look further into it. It might be for you too. So you're probably thinking, Mike, that's nice, but I'm not a recruiter. Hey, no problem. No problem. I still want you to win with revenue share. So let me share this with you. I am a recruiter and I'm really good at it. So when you name me or any of the Rams agents in our network as your sponsor, I will help you recruit your first 2 agents. All right, so here's how it would work. You introduce me to 5 agents that you know who will take my call when I mention your name, and I will go ahead and call them up, and I'm going to share the model with them. And when they join, they're going to go ahead and name you as their sponsor. So they're going to go ahead and they'll be on your first line, and then they'll be on my second line, and we're both going to win. Does that make sense? Yeah, let's do this thing together. All right, in addition, if you want, I will help you and your recruits with this training as well. So you'll learn how, if you want to, you'll learn what I'm doing, and I'll show you and give you all the tools you need if you decide that you want to do recruiting on a higher level. Either way, it's completely optional. You don't have to do recruiting when you're over at the company. It's just one of the cool options that you have. And if you're curious about, if you're just thinking about and you're curious about maybe joining Epique Realty or getting more information, and you want to chat with me about to learn a little bit more, go ahead and click down in the show notes. I think I'm going to call it Talk to Mike or something like that. You'll see it down there. Just go ahead and click that link and schedule a 20-minute Zoom call with me. We'll go ahead and get on the call. We'll chat, and I'll explain the model and what's going on in more detail. And we'll find out if it's a good fit for you or not in your particular situation. I'll give you a straight scoop. I don't mind telling people I don't think this is right for you right now. If it's not, or saying, boy, this looks really good, or it's somewhere in the middle and you're going to have to make a choice and flip a coin or something. But I'll give you that information. Now, if this video was helpful, do me a favor and click that like button. It helps the channel. It helps other people see what we're doing. And if you really like what this is and you want to hear more, because we're going to be putting out a lot more content on this topic and these topics, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and join me on my epic journey. All right, well, this is a lot of fun today. Keep moving forward, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.